What a week it's been. Welcome to my first Insta Live of Lockdown 3. Blimey. We'll just wait for Claire to arrive. Hi everyone, thanks for joining. It's Friday. Oh my god, it's nearly the weekend. Thank goodness. We've made it from nothing to 3 days. Here's Claire. Hi Joe. Thanks for joining. Hi everyone. It's so cold. Hi!
Hi! How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. So exciting!
I know! And it's Friday afternoon, which makes it all the better.
I just love Fridays. It doesn't even feel like a Friday. This week feels like it's been a really odd week, doesn't it?
Oh my god, doesn't it? Do you want to just take a minute to introduce yourself, Claire, and say what you do?
Oh yeah. Hi everybody. So I'm Claire. My business is called Naked PR Girl, and it's all about being honest and a straightforward approach to marketing. I like to keep things really simple and get great results. I work predominantly with founders of businesses, and I just love working with them to build their story and get them out there, really, using lots of modern media like video like this. So yes, so that's me in a nutshell.
And whereabouts are you in the country?
I'm in Kensington right now. I'm originally from Yorkshire, so I do have a bit of a hybrid accent, but that's okay. So Kensington. Where are you?
I am in just outside Banbury, kind of Oxfordshire, Warwickshire.
Oh, lovely.
And it's very snowy today and absolutely freezing.
Oh yeah, I've got like a heater on. I'm like, I'm just in case. I'm like freezing.
No. I think that's why, well, there are a couple of reasons, but why lockdown 3 has hit people so much harder because A, obviously it was a new year, B, it's winter, schools are closed. It's just so hard, isn't it? This week has been just a roller coaster.
And it's like, I think in a way the first one, because we had an ending, sorry, we didn't have an ending. We didn't really know what was going on. Whereas this time we know it's going to be a long haul. So it's a bit like deep breath, like, so it's quite a difficult thing.
Yeah, completely.
But here we are again. We're getting through it day by day.
I know we are, and I've had to dig really deep this week. I had to have a massive word with myself and say, come on, put your big girl pants on and just crack on with it. Because at the beginning of the week, I really did fall into a black hole. I thought, I can't do this again. But actually, the first place I turned to was my social media community, like my Instagram community. A couple of people I reached out to, and I was like, oh my God, help me. And I think that's why, I mean, obviously, we're going to talk about why it's important to keep showing up and why it's important to, try and find some kind of time to keep up with your social, because it's so supportive, isn't it?
It is.
The community I've got here is just amazing.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I think even doing something like this, even if you're feeling really terrible, to get yourself up, put your makeup on and talk to somebody else and kind of be the best version of yourself, it actually does pull you like through and up. And so I quite enjoy doing it, really, because it makes me go like, all right, stop whinging, get off the laptop and go and like talk to somebody. It's like quite a nice, like reaffirming thing to do, I think. Makes you smile.
It is really nice. I think it really helps you feel connected. Like, despite everyone being locked in their houses, if you can still feel connected to people via Instagram or other social media, you feel like there is an outside world, don't you?
Yeah, it's like a virtual hug, but yeah, it still makes a difference.
A virtual hug, that's exactly it. And also you can feed off other people. You can feed off their motivation. You can feed off their energy. If you're having a particularly low day and someone else is having a good day, then it can help inspire you, can't it?
Absolutely. And I think like, it's a bit of a long journey, because I've seen some people this week talking about how hard they found it. I've not found it so hard this week, but I know it's coming. And it's like that thing of it is a lot, it's saying journey, but like it is a bit of a journey. Like you do know you're going to go through your own ups and downs, and somebody else pulling you forward, and then vice versa. So it's like those encouraging words either side like helps us all kind of get on.
Definitely.
We will get through it.
We will get through it. There will be an end in sight.
Yeah.
So if you are one of those people who's having a real struggle thinking, I don't know what to post, I don't know what to say, like, what would you advise them to do? What would be the first step? Would you say, well, have a listen, see what other people are doing, maybe join in on a few comments and conversations, or what would your first piece of advice be, do you think?
Well, I totally understand why people get so freaked out by it, because in the first lockdown, I had like actual clients coming to me and saying like, shall we just shut down the website then? And I was like horrified. I was like, oh my God, like, what are you talking about? But I can understand like the place everyone comes from is like, okay, well, we can't do this now anymore. This is like, you know, we're in this point of like absolute pandemic, like everyone's really panicking. We have to stay inside, we have to shut down.
Yeah.
And my point to everyone has always been that if it's like momentum, it's like a wave, it's like everything builds. And if you suddenly switch off that tap,
yeah,
give it 6 months, you know, when it's all back up and running again, and you're going to be completely flat and dead because you haven't engaged with anyone for such a long time, you haven't joined the conversation, you haven't been involved in it.
Yeah.
So as difficult as it is to turn up, I guess, I don't feel like just stopping dead, unfortunately, even though it was very nice to hibernate, will do your business anything good. I think, you know, by showing up, by showing leadership even. And so kind of coming from a place of why you need to keep going is probably the first step. I think, you know, a lot of businesses, you know, being on social media, being digital is your bread and butter. A lot of the time it's the only way to reach customers right now, especially if you were a store, for example. So by just sort of like cutting off, you might find yourself in 6 months' time being a bit sad that you did that, because you'll have to start building that momentum again. Because I do find it like a wave, do you?
It's so much harder to come back, I think, if you've been quiet. You're right. It's much, much easier just to stay vocal and keep your voice being heard, and then just ride the wave, like you said. You know, even if you do something that at the moment is completely, you know, if you have a house to rent, for example, for holiday lets, and you're not having any traffic coming at all, people are still planning, they're still making summer plans or holiday plans, or they're still buying. You know, people want things to stay as normal as possible in the outside world. So I think if you can try and stay as normal as possible, then people will remember you when they come out of it, and they'll think, oh, hang on, I remember Lucy from Charterhouse, you know, on Instagram, so I'm going to get in touch with her. So I think it is really worth staying visible and keeping your messages coming, because people do want to see some kind of normality. They really do.
They do. It is like that, you know, that bravery to keep showing up in this time, actually, that I think will earn extra points, because it is easier to be like, well, everyone's furloughed, everyone's stuck in, I don't really feel like it. And of course, like that, they're all completely valid, like totally. But if you do have a business and you do want like that business to survive, it is sort of time to also, you can actually make, you know, good things can happen in this time too, even if it's not obvious. And that's the thing, I suppose, it isn't obvious. We've got used to our way of working, and then it changes, and you're like, I'm lost. I don't know how to do this. It's confusing, because it is a different thing.
Totally, completely different thing. So I would say that if you are really lost and you're thinking, I don't know what to say, I don't know what to post about, come back to your kind of who you are, what you do, and who you do it for. Get a big piece of paper, just start brainstorming. Why do I do this? Who am I speaking to? And just write down loads of different ideas of what you could post about. Some will be rubbish and you won't want to post them, and some will be absolute gold. So I'd say have a real brainstorming session. If you can find 10 minutes in your day or your evening to do that, I think it would really help.
Brainstorming is brilliant. And the other thing I like to look at as well is like archive content, because sometimes when you're really stuck and you don't know where to go forward, sometimes going back helps as well. Like I've got like years of sort of, you know, content about, I don't know, Valentine's Day or Easter or, you know, January or whatever, like, or snow even, like, you know, and going through those archive pictures and being like, oh, could I reuse some of this? Now I've got a bit of time to think, and you know, I still want to chat to my customers and maybe talk about old times or new times or what's coming up. And I find that a really good place to start when I'm really kind of like, I don't know what I'm doing this week. It does kind of help to, like, I don't know, get you, and especially if it's been a popular post and you're like, oh, why was that popular then? Let's have a look, like what I did then that was so clever.
Definitely. And I think if you go back to lockdown 1 and 2 and you have a think about the questions that your clients and your customers were asking you during that lockdown, you can use those questions and those conversations to kind of shape your content going forward, I think, going forward in this lockdown.
Well, I think it's kind of, where we connected, isn't it? Because the first thing that came to my mind was like, everyone was worried last time about posting, and you'd had the same thing. We were like, it's such a block, isn't it?
It is such a block. Yeah, completely. And I think also, don't worry about, you know, having to post all the time. I think showing up can mean so many different things. It can mean sending a direct message, posting an Instagram story. You know, you don't need to be focused so much on posting those grid posts regularly. You just need to be visible, don't you?
Yeah, because I've come to a new realization that I can't post every day unless I want to feel very stressed about it. Yeah. So I just came to a decision that I was going to do like 3 times a week. And I even sit down and schedule those now. Like I didn't used to. I'm a very big fan of being in the moment with Instagram and being in the mood and the vibe. But sometimes having them pre-drafted does take that edge off it. Which, do you schedule or do you?
I don't actually. I'm not a planner by trade. I'm not very good at planning, so I don't. But what I tend to do is I write my posts and I save them as drafts. And then I just go and post them early in the morning, next morning. So they're always there. I'm not like doing them live at the moment. But I don't use a scheduling tool. But I really recommend scheduling. You know, if you can find an hour on a Sunday or a Saturday, maybe that's more achievable at the moment than during the week, just to sit down and write some posts. I think Later is a brilliant scheduling tool for Instagram. I highly recommend Later. So yeah, if you do want to get into scheduling and you've got some time on the weekend, then have a look into Later. It's great. And I think scheduling really helps because scheduling means that you can post to your grid and you know that those posts are sorted. And then if you've got 5 minutes on a Tuesday, you can post an Instagram story. You know, it becomes a lot more fluid, I think, if you can get into scheduling, for sure.
Totally agree. Kind of, I suppose it compartmentalizes everything. So if you do spend that time on a Sunday, one, you seem to write them quicker because you're not going, oh God, it's Thursday, I haven't posted yet. Quick, think of something. Yeah, you've allocated that time and made sure it's like doing what you want it to do and key messaging. You're not just panicking. Yeah. And the second thing is like when it doesn't just come out, like your kind of brain is freed up for the other things. So like you said, popping on your live or doing a story or whatever, you've kind of got that mental space for it, which hasn't been used up with this like flapping about of posting, which I've done a lot, by the way. I've been I'm a classic flapper. I get to like Wednesday, I'm like, oh, I make something up.
But then I also think the other thing that to be wary of is you don't, at the moment during lockdown, I think it's hard for anyone to feel like they're really in a business mind, in a corporate way. So don't feel like you have to stay on brand so much and keep those really heavy corporate messages. I think it's much easier if you look at your Instagram page a bit like your journal. Think of it as your kind of like diary or a journal. And think about it in terms of your customer, like your page, and this sounds a bit bizarre, but I don't think your Instagram page is necessarily about you. It's about your community. So if you think, right, what can I write that's helpful to my community? If that's that I'm having a really shit day and I'm having a nightmare with homeschooling, then just write about it. You know, you will only create trust and empathy with other people, which is essentially what Instagram's all about. It's about building a community that relate to you. So I think if you sometimes put your customer and your client in your mind as opposed to yourself, that whole process of writing content becomes much easier.
Yeah, and you can always think of it as like a mixture as well. Like sometimes when I don't know what to say, I might put up a quote because I'm like fresh out things to say, or like, you know, just things that resonate.
Everyone loves a quote. It's so good at the moment. Yeah.
But that's the thing. And then I alternate sometimes. So I might put something more personal up and then I might put something more businessy up, but I don't have to just be all business or all whatever. So it's really nice to have that, especially with Instagram. Like you have got that ability to, you know, put a really nice picture up and put a caption up that's really true. And like, it's quite nice to have that.
It's so true. I think everyone at the moment, no one expects perfection. Like if you think that it has to be perfect, then you're just not going to do it, are you? Because at the moment, you're perfect.
No, because you're like, let's face it, we've all got our slippers on. It's bloody freezing.
Yeah.
Perfection is a myth. Like it's like you want to find the perfect grid for you, not the perfect grid, because it's just not attainable. Like you said, you just won't do it. You'll stay stuck. You'll stay worried. And the more you kind of let yourself go a little bit and just try and connect with the audience, it's not about you or selling. It's like, you know, it's just like you said about the community and your customer. And the more you kind of focus on that, the better everything gets, I think.
Yeah, I completely agree. And it's about trying to be kind of honest and helpful, isn't it, in your content? If you think, I think the other thing to think of is don't always assume that someone knows what you know. So if you're reading an amazing book or if you've listened to a podcast in 15 minutes, don't assume that other people know what you know. So think, how can I be helpful? What am I doing that might help that one other person in my community? And post about that.
Yeah, I agree. And like totally, I also think like what you said earlier about having time to do stories and stuff, perhaps like if you can just stick, you don't have to do a big routine, but if you can stick to some kind of routine, say like, I don't know, you want to show up on stories every Monday, And you start just like that, and you say, I'm going to, you know, post a couple of times a week, and I'm going to show up on stories because that's what I can commit to right now. And then just try that, and the regularity of that, and you'll get more confident, and it'll push you on to do more things. And suddenly you'll be like, I don't know, you'll be in the bath doing an Instagram live with that confidence. So it's like, it really builds and builds and builds, doesn't it? So like, I know if people have had a bit of fear from the lockdown and they daren't do it right now, like just start something small and like build up, and it's fine. It's a long road we've got to get through, and it's okay to have a bit of a break, but like, have a go at posting again and getting your business back out.
I also think with every day that go past, and I know this has been myself this week, on Tuesday, whenever it was, the announcement came, I was like, the next day was absolute chaos. I didn't have 5 minutes for Instagram, but actually now it comes to Friday, I've realised where those little pockets of time are throughout the day for me to be able to concentrate on actually my business and what I do. And I know that as the weeks go by, you know, the routine will get more and more fixed. And then you realise, right, on a Monday, I have got 10 minutes at 12 o'clock, or on a Tuesday, I have got 20 minutes at 9 o'clock. And it becomes a lot easier, I think.
Yeah, these little pockets of time. And if you can schedule them into your diary, I mean, I struggle with it as well, but the more useful I am is because I've scheduled it, or because I've made sure I've got that hour to do my scheduling for the week, or that 15 minutes I was going to do my story, so that I don't let myself slip a bit. So like, you've got it scheduled, but I know it's not that I say like sounds easy, but just if you can get into a routine, or whenever works for you as well, I'd say, like, if, you know, Monday mornings are perfect, or Sunday evenings are great, like whatever it is, it doesn't matter when you know your audience is supposed to be on. If you can stick to it, just have a go, I think.
Yeah, so true. And then when it comes to the messages you're putting out there and the tone of voice, I think obviously you have to be sensitive to what's going on around you. You have to be, that's the only thing about scheduling, I would say, is that obviously scheduling is amazing, but you need to be
you need to catch them if something goes wrong.
Exactly.
Boris changes his mind.
So what would you say to people who are thinking, I don't want to sell my service right now, I'm feeling icky about talking about my business or my products or my brand? Would you say have the confidence to just put it out there, because everyone loves hearing a success story, or everyone loves hearing what you've got for sale? Or would you say that you should kind of tone it back and scale it back?
I think definitely if you probably already got, if you're a business, you're probably already thinking a bit further ahead than this anyway. You've probably got a whole season's worth of content that you're now looking at going, oh, what am I going to do? Yeah. So I would definitely say that a lot of things can be kind of tweaked and salvaged. You know, if, I don't know, you're a fashion brand and you've been advertising great party outfits, you know, it's about then taking that message and probably either having a joke with it, you know, being like, you know, dream Friday night outfit, if only we were not, you know, so, you know, it just making that, just switching it on its head a little bit, or just being like, you know, our dream look for in a couple, like there's lots of different ways to take what you've kind of already got and created, and just making sure that the tone is just ever so slightly, well, completely right, because obviously we're not going to really need our high heels and party dresses, but at the same time, we probably want to dream a little bit and maybe there's a nice way to talk about it. And there's probably a lot of different things that you can do that for. Take the content you've kind of already planned and just look at that caption and see how, I mean, unless it's an event that you've got planned, that's probably going to pivot somewhat, but I would think most things you can kind of get the caption to match the image in some way.
I think it's about humanizing it, isn't it, and really showing off the kind of personal side of your brand at the moment. So you're absolutely right. If you've got an amazing outfit that you usually be wearing out on a Friday, then turn it around and say, let's party get a Friday fake away and get dressed up for it.
Exactly.
Absolutely. Totally. And I also think that if you have got an amazing success story, you know, people may be thinking, oh, I don't want to share that because I don't want to seem like I'm boasting or showing off, but actually people's success gives other people hope. So never be afraid to post a nice testimonial or a nice reference you've got, or a nice success story from last lockdown perhaps, because people are looking for that hope at the moment, and you will give it to them. There will be someone out there who really takes that success story and thinks, wow, I can do that. So don't be afraid to post about your successes and how you're getting through lockdown. And if you've had a good day, great, post and say you've had a good day. Give someone else aspirations, doesn't it?
That's good. Yeah, exactly. And I think a lot of great things have come from lockdown. A lot of terrible things have come from lockdown, but there's a lot of great things that have come from it in terms of opportunity. People have really had to think outside the box, like, you know, thinking about how they can service a customer, or what they might need to change about their business in order to suddenly be online out of nowhere. So I think the ingenuity that everyone has had to go to in the creativity has been quite amazing. So I'm always love hearing success stories about how people have done it. And like you said, it's all about replication then. If you can take something from another industry and use it for your business, it's quite a creative time. So I think we're going to see it like a burst of sort of creativity. And if anyone's got ideas, this like kind of quieter time can be a great time for that to come out as well.
Yeah, so true. So how, Claire, would you keep up momentum? How would you keep the energy going on Instagram for the next, I mean, I'm not going to say a time frame because who knows how long it's going to be, but let's just take week by week or even day by day. How do you keep up your momentum, do you think?
Well, what I've done this year, which I sound like a saint or something, but I've only just started doing this. So like, let's check it back in later. Okay. But I started to do proper goal setting because I've always been very like, oh yeah, it's fine, whatever. But now I've committed to like 3 posts a week. It's not going to be as ad hoc because I've scheduled them already. I will tweak them and move them, of course, and add other things into them. But I've definitely made sure I've done that. And I've committed to, how many stories I'm going to do a week. So I know that I can kind of tick that off for me. And so committing it to a bit of a goal setting thing. And it doesn't have to be crazy. Like if you just want to show up once a week and that's enough for your business and you're happy that connects with your audience, then just do that 1 hour a week. Maybe it's a live, maybe it's like whatever it is, like an experiment as well. I think the experiment, we probably haven't talked about the experimenting, but at Instagram really valuing probably lives, and it's really valuing reels, it's valuing video.
Oh, lost her. Oh, yeah.
Sorry, my phone keeps telling me when I'm at limit of my I'm only allowed an hour a day or something on social media, and it tells me off every time. I need to switch it off.
Oh my god, hilarious.
I know, could not make it up, could you? What was I banging on about?
You were talking about mixing things up, going live, maybe doing an odd reel.
Yes, because I'm sure you've seen the same thing. Like Instagram loves reels, it loves video content, it loves you being live, it loves that you're using all of its platform. It loves that you're engaging. So I think there's a lot to be said for, trying to mix things up a bit as well. You might feel out of your comfort zone. Everyone does. It's like,
I know.
It's the worst thing ever, but you get used to it, don't you? I think you get used to the experiment.
And I do think there is something to say for pushing yourself out of your comfort zone during lockdown, because you really feel like you've achieved something. Even if it's something really small, it's something for you. And it feels all the greater, I think, during lockdown to really push yourself.
Yeah, I think like even doing lives together, like collaborating with other people, it's almost like checking in with your friends, isn't it? It's a nice thing, no matter what level you're at. If you want to get into doing lives, doing it with a like-minded business or whatever, it's a great place to start, isn't it? Because you kind of feel like you're in it together.
I completely agree. And actually, I think going live in a way, for me at the moment, is easier than doing a grid post, because a grid post, I have to put quite a lot of thought behind it. But going live, when you go live with someone, it's like just having a conversation with a friend, isn't it? And
it's IGTV. It can take me like forever, editing and captioning and whatever. And this is so much easier. So,
it's a lot of time. Apart from my kids who are now in the background, can you see them?
This is it. This is real life, though. This is it.
This is the problem with having glass doors to your office, is you'll get a little face. There's one, look, poking in. Sorry about that.
Famous.
So what were we talking about? Momentum. Yeah. So the other thing I think about keeping up momentum is make sure that you're muting or unfollowing people who are maybe giving you the fear or bringing you down or making you feel like you're not doing quite enough. I think it's important at the moment to just focus on people who bring you up on Instagram.
100%. I saw Helen Maria posted this morning about making sure that you are socially distanced from like negative people online and in real life. I was like, like, why did I never think of that?
It's so true, isn't it?
I love it. Yeah, there should be a social distance button on your like Instagram.
There really should. There so should.
I'd love that.
And I think it's just about keeping the conversations going, checking in with people, making sure people are checking in with you, keeping those direct messages up, and feed off, like we said earlier, feed off other people's motivation and energy. If you're having a particularly bad day, just reach out, because that's what Instagram is so great at. Yeah,
and also I suppose in a way, like, if you're worried about what to post and your customers are your followers, you can ask them. You can go on stories and say, guys, I'm like totally lost. I don't know what to talk to you about. are you happy with me still, you know, selling things to you, or do you want me to take a break? Or, and you could probably be surprised how many people are like, yeah, just carry on, because it's the escapism, isn't it? I think we really need, and you know, continually pulling ourselves down might be too hard. So yeah, if you're really, really worried, just ask your audience what they do want, because they might surprise you.
I think that's such good advice. It can really help shape your content, your posts and your stories going forward. And it's such an easy thing to do. Just use the engagement stickers in your stories, use the poll sticker or the question sticker. It's great. And people love using those stickers back. Like, I love voting on people's polls. I love answering their questions. I think it's brilliant.
Yeah, agreed. I think, yeah, actually, I've just, you know, just thought that, and I was like, yeah, that's just actually the best idea. If that's what's really stressing you out and you feel like you're going to hurt people's feelings, you can always check before you do. And yeah, I think people will be surprised by how much people probably want to escape the situation and not watch the news.
Definitely. So what accounts are you, if you've got 2 accounts at the moment that you're really loving and that are inspiring you, Claire, which ones would they be?
Well, I've actually been naughty and I've written down 3 because I knew.
Oh, amazing.
So the first one I've got to say is Officially Quigley, who is an American content creator. And
okay.
yeah, she hooked me in because she does all these like behind the scenes of shoots. So she'll put the beautiful like picture up,
yeah,
and then she'll do the scroll through, and there's the behind the scenes of how she did it. And I was like, oh, that's so good.
So good.
Through her, I found another similar girl called, I think she's Kylie, and I don't know how to say her surname, Kate Jessica. I'll have to check that one for you.
Yeah,
but
we'll put them in the
yeah, she does fantastic behind the scenes as well. So she's always telling you what lens she's used, what camera she's got, how she created certain angles or whatever. And I'm like, oh, got a lot of time for that as well. And through her, I found somebody called Of Leather and Lace, I think she's called, who does amazing reels, and she does the behind the scenes. She's grown, like, I think she was on like 100,000, and now she's at 450,000 just from
reels.
Oh my
God, that's amazing.
But her behind the scenes are like amazing. So I'll have to send them to you, because like I've just got a lot of time, because it's hard when you are a service business to do a reel when you're not going to be jumping up and down necessarily changing outfits.
Oh my God, literally you don't have to do that. I'm like, watch these reels and I'm like, how are they doing that? Like, physically, how are they doing that? It's so clever.
But I love the fact that they're teaching you something, and so it's kind of like, you know, what we probably feel like we're trying to do is teach people things, and I'm like, they do it really well. So I'll have to send you them. What are yours?
The one I'm really loving at the moment is Andy at Dahlia Beach. I don't know if you follow her, but she is so good. And at the moment she's talking about, well, she was yesterday, she was talking about creating your garden for spring. And I just think things like that give people hope. You know, spring is coming. It's like revival. And also she did a brilliant reel this morning when she was dancing around the house with her Hoover, which just had me in hysterics. It was so good.
This is where we're at right now, isn't it?
It is. Anything that makes you laugh or makes you feel like, yes, things will change, we're not in this forever, I think is just genius.
I mean, honestly, I feel like I could have given you about 100 of, like, because they're so good. Everyone's so clever on it, aren't they?
Totally. And the other one that I absolutely love is Fleur at Do Real Work, because I think she services small business like no other account I follow on Instagram. She's just brilliant at giving advice, and she's always shows up. She's funny. She's quite dry in her sense of humor, which I really get. And yeah, she's great. So those are the 2 that I would really recommend at the moment.
Oh, it's so lovely to see everyone being so creative, isn't it? Especially those ones that make you laugh. You just like, I have so much love for those, because you really do need it.
Totally. And then you end up sharing it, and that's what Instagram's all about. It's about sharing those, you know, snippets of, you know, happiness and joy and laughter. That's what Instagram's brilliant at. I think it's so good. And
those people, they do, like, you do have to be brave to put like a really funny one out there, don't you? Because it's quite an exposing experience. So yeah, definitely like clap into them. They did well with that.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Claire. Have you got anything that you want to add before we go?
No, I think we have covered quite a bit, haven't we?
I hope so, yeah. I mean, as with every live I do, it feels just like I've had a chat with a friend, which is just so nice.
I know, it's just brilliant. But you get to where you're like, you know, you leisure wear and just not leave the house. It's great.
It's so good. So if anyone needs any help with their kind of story writing or PR, where can they get in touch with you, Claire?
Probably on Instagram's the easiest thing, isn't it? A good old DM. I'm always on the DMs. But yeah, come and have a look at my website, or just chat. I've got like some videos and stuff, but this has been brilliant. I've really enjoyed it.
So nice. Thank you so much. And have an amazing weekend. And thank you everyone for joining. It's Friday afternoon. We've nearly got through the first week. Amen to that.
Amen.
See you soon, Claire.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.